Hello and thank you for joining me. Today I want to touch on human behavior. What a fascinating subject. There's nothing quite like it. But let's talk about one of the most accurate predictors of human behavior. Neurological thresholds. It sounds technical. I'm going to try my best. Let's talk about this. You need to know this. And you need to know this about yourself. Why do you do what you do? Why do you like what you like? Why do you engage the way you engage with your environment, your energy levels, and why do you feel the way you feel about remote work and working from home? Quite relevant at the moment. A neurological threshold is the amount of stimulation it takes for your nerve cells to fire. Pew! So we all have nerve cells. We all have a nervous system. They don't all fire at the same intensity of stimulation. One would think they do, but they don't. And that's why there is a field of study called sensory integration, sensory modulation, sensory coaching. Otherwise, I would have been eating an ice cream now. So if you have high thresholds, you need a lot more stimulation for a longer period of time, more intensely, before you register and organize. Not only your messages from your environment, but also from your own internal body organs. If you've got low thresholds, you only need a little bit of stimulation for a shorter period of time, much less intense, before you register and organize. So it really directly impacts how we engage with what's going on. Some of us are over-processing, very attentive to the environment. Others, not so much. Under-processing, may even find the environment boring and bland. What makes it even more interesting is that you can either have an active or a passive response to your thresholds. So if you have an active response to a high threshold, you will be sensory seeking, actively seeking out more sensation throughout your day. Adding chili to your food, drinking 5 coffees instead of 1, driving with the windows down, taking a cold shower in winter. You may be into extreme adventure sports. You may be really missing your colleagues at the moment and finding every day too mundane, like Groundhog Day, really. If you are passively engaging with your high thresholds, you may be sensory under-responsive with poor registration. This might look like couch potato-y behavior. You've got high thresholds, but you don't realize that you need more sensation and more stimulation to stay engaged, energized, and alert. You may also look back on your life and see pockets of high activity. For example, started jogging in 2014 and poof, completed the comrades, but then had an injury and didn't take up exercise again. That kind of activity where you don't really realize what's changed in the environment. For example, returning back from lockdown to the office, not knowing that the whole building was painted or renovated or changed. Wouldn't notice the 5 dirty coffee mugs on the table. Would, for example, stand too close to people in a queue, drive in front of people in traffic. Really dangerous behavior for people with poor registration of sensory input. So next time that happens, wind down your window, shout at the top of your voice, passive response to high thresholds. Stop that. That should teach them. So are you sensory seeking or sensory under-responsive? Both these groups of sensory profile individuals would struggle with remote work, depending on your home circumstances. If it's calm, quiet, contained, you'll be dying. It'll be way too dull. You have to check in with your colleagues with high thresholds. They don't need an SMS. They need a phone call. They need a sneaky coffee. They need a Zoom meeting. Check in with them. Make sure they are engaged, energized, motivated, feeling part of the team. Very important. Although, if you've got a colorful home environment with strings of children and they are wonderful and they keep you engaged and energized, you're probably loving it. So depending on your home environment, the high thresholds will react differently to what's going on in their sensory environment. Looking at low thresholds, if you've got an active response to a low threshold, you'll be sensory avoiding. People not having FOMO, but JOMO, the joy of missing out. 100% fine being left off the list for after work drinks. Rather calm, quiet, contained environment. Leave them be. They want less. Could become a little bit controlling and a little bit difficult almost, because they want to reduce the amount of sensation in their day. And the unknown and the unpredictability of the situation at the moment is really, really hard, really stressful, causes huge anxiety for individuals with low thresholds. If you've got a passive response to high thresholds, you'll be sensory sensitive, not avoiding, but really absolutely exhausted by sensory input at the end of the day. So you'll still wear your irritating polo neck jersey and your skin-tight skinny jeans, even though it drives you bonkers. You do it, but at the end of the day, you've absolutely had it and you're exhausted, and you need to implement your sensory snacks, diets, and ergonomics to just reach calm alert again. Now, for individuals with a low threshold, either sensory avoiding or sensory sensitive, work from home will also depend on what the home environment looks like. If it is busy, overwhelming, lots of children, lots of pets, lots of plumbers in the roof like I had last week all week, it's probably pushing you into overload. You're probably missing office life. If you've got a calm, quiet, contained environment, you're probably doing the best work you've ever done, and you need a recommendation from me to say that this should continue forever going forward. Remote work, flexi work for the rest of your life, 2 to 3 days a week at least. So where do you fit in? Are you sensory seeking, sensory under responsive, sensory avoiding, or sensory sensitive? Very important to know this about yourself and to manage your own sensory needs while doing remote work. Of course, we can also be sensory seeking in, for example, movement or touch, but sensory avoiding in auditory. There's always a fluctuation in the individual scores. So let me unpack it for you, help you with your sensory profile, make sense of why you do what you do, prefer what you prefer, and your productivity levels while doing work from home. Stay safe. Lots of love, everybody. This was beautiful. Bye-bye.